My ex-husband died in Afghanistan and his parents are now trying to steal our daughter. Penny was only 8 when her father, my ex-husband Evan, died in an IED explosion. Watching her sob into his folded flag at the funeral broke something inside me. We'd been divorced for 2 years, but Evan was still the best dad Penny could ask for, and losing him felt like losing half of our family. What I didn't expect was his parents, Richard and Patricia, showing up at my apartment 48 hours after we buried their son. They'd never once visited Penny in her entire life, never sent a birthday card or Christmas gift, but there they were, at my door in their expensive black clothes with fake concerned expressions, talking about Penny's future. Patricia walked through my tiny apartment like she was touring a crime scene, while Richard made comments about how hard this must be for me financially. They gave Penny a tablet that cost more than my monthly groceries, and started talking about extended visits to help with her grief. The way they looked at everything we owned made my skin crawl, but Penny was so broken from losing her dad that she clung to any connection to him. Within a week, they were picking her up from school without asking me first. They enrolled her in some fancy therapy program, and kept mentioning how much better Penny would do in private school. My own mother started taking their side. She was so impressed by their country club lifestyle that she kept telling me I should be grateful they wanted to help. She'd never seen this kind of money before, and suddenly I was being selfish for not letting them transform Penny's life. I started working double shifts to afford things that could compete with their gifts, but every time Penny came back from their house, she seemed more distant. She'd talk about horseback riding lessons, and possible trips to Europe while I packed her lunch in Tupperware containers. I was losing my daughter, and everyone around me acted like it was a good thing. The breaking point came when Penny's 9th birthday approached. I'd been saving for months to take her camping at the place where Evan proposed to me, and where we'd taken Penny at least once a year. It was our sacred tradition. Penny got excited, talking about roasting marshmallows and telling stories under the stars like we used to do with Daddy. But then Patricia announced they'd booked a Disney cruise for the same weekend. She made comments about camping being primitive while Penny deserved magical experiences. Richard kept emphasizing how much the cruise cost and how this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. My mother immediately supported the cruise, telling Penny it was Disney and she'd remember it forever. When I tried to explain how important our camping tradition was, Patricia cut me off saying Evan was dead, and it was time Penny stopped living in the past. The worst part was watching Penny's face as she realized she had to choose. She started crying and apologizing, but said she wanted to go to Disney. I couldn't take spending her birthday weekend alone, so I drove 6 hours to my sister-in-law Veronica's house near the base where Evan was stationed. Veronica never got along with her parents, one thing we had in common. She let me cry for hours while I admitted I felt like I was failing Penny and couldn't compete with unlimited money. Then Veronica mentioned something that made me freeze. She said Evan had visited about a month before deployment and seemed really upset about something involving his parents. She disappeared into her closet and came back with a sealed envelope marked in Evan's handwriting. Veronica's hands were shaking as she handed it to me, and said Evan made her promise to give it to me if his parents ever tried anything with Penny. She said he kept researching something about family finances and kept saying they never cared before, so why now? My heart was pounding as I broke the seal and found bank statements, legal documents, and a handwritten letter from Evan. The first thing I saw was Evan's life insurance policy, showing Penny the sole beneficiary for $750,000. Evan's letter explained everything. His parents had disowned him when he married me because they considered me beneath their station, but it was his grandfather who had all the money and paid for the life insurance policy on Evan to keep his family safe, and he made sure his parents only learned about it after his death. The devastating truth hit me like a truck. They weren't grieving grandparents. They were predators who saw Penny as a payday. Evan also had documents showing Richard's business was failing, and they were facing bankruptcy. A few days later, my lawyer got sent preliminary custody paperwork, claiming I was financially unstable and emotionally unfit. The therapy sessions were meant to discredit me. That's when I realized Penny was currently on the Disney cruise, completely under their control. My phone showed a text from Patricia saying we needed to talk when they returned, because Penny's future was at stake. I only had 2 days to prepare to go to war for my daughter. Full story on channel, linked below.